Stuart and Casey McGill of Madison County both grew up working on farms. But in 2011, they decided to strike out on their own with little more than 11 acres and a dream.
We started with a little bean patch, and we made a crop, made 35 bushels an acre, and we thought we hit a home run. We thought we were just living high, and so it kind of started growing from there.
Today, the McGills farm more than 600 acres of cotton, corn, and soybeans, including 272 acres of owned land. They're both licensed crop insurance agents, and Stuart manages Casey's family's agritourism operations at Tate Farms.
It worked out well, I guess, for the family and for myself that I married someone who did love agriculture, and they wanted to follow and kind of have the same footsteps that my family had always had, and that's something that has allowed me to stay in the agriculture community, stay involved in the farm, probably more than I would have had I not married someone who was interested in farming.
Tate Farms, a 5,000-acre family row crop operation, opened its doors to school groups 20 years ago. Under Stuart's leadership, the farm has become a year-round destination, hosting everything from field trips and weddings to corporate outings for as many as 6,000 people.
I take a lot of pride in the amount of people that we're able to touch every year, and our voice in agriculture. North Alabama has learned to trust us and to listen to us, and we take pride in that. When there's an issue on agriculture and the news media wants to know, they come to us, and we take pride in that because we feel we can be the voice for agriculture here.
Although Casey now spends most of her time helping other farmers manage risk, come fall of the year, it's all hands on deck at Tate Farms.
I used to help Dad plant the pumpkins and inventory the seeds and things like that. And Stuart kind of came on and took my job from me a little bit. But here I do what needs to be done. You know, whether that's in the kitchen, preparing the meals, whether that's working the produce shed, whatever needs to be done that day, that's what I do.
Meanwhile, the McGills are focused on improving the productivity of their own farm. They've added grain storage, bought used quality equipment, and plan for the future by purchasing land with water for future irrigation.
When you're young and starting out, there's going to be a lot of risk, and we've done that, and we've hit a few crops in a row. Hopefully the good Lord will give us some rain this year and we'll be able to hit another crop. But if he don't, that's going to be okay too. You know, we're going to live to see another day.
Casey says it's rewarding to see their girls, Allie, Reese, and Peyton, grow up on the farm watching their daddy.
It's encouraging that they get to grow up where there's somewhere safe that they can come, and even if he does have to go off somewhere, they know this yard's back like the back of their hand, and they're able to come out here and spend the day, and I that's encouraging.
Stuart studied physical education and biology at Auburn University while coaching softball, and Casey has a marketing degree from the University of Alabama, Huntsville. Both are active in the Farmers Federation and frequently speak to groups about the importance of agriculture. In 2014, Stuart reached the Sweet 16 in the American Farm Bureau Federation's discussion meet. He says farming and being an ambassador for agriculture just comes natural.
Kind of got instilled in me pretty young, and couldn't get away from it. I think it hooked me more than I hooked it, let's put it that way.
From Madison County, Outstanding Young Farm Family finalists Stuart and Casey McGill and their daughters, Allie, Reese, and Peyton. Starting a farm from scratch hasn't been easy for John and Hannah Bevel of Marshall County. They've overcome hesitant lenders, a lack of available land, and even a tornado. But today their row crop and cattle operation is growing.
We've got about 480 acres of crops and about 105 acres of pasture. On the pasture, we have 53 head of cows right now. We've got right at 260 acres of corn, 220 acres of soybeans, and we also had around 100 acres of wheat this year.
Hannah admits being married to a full-time farmer has been an eye-opening experience, but one she's glad their daughter Maddie can enjoy.
I think she has learned a whole lot more than I did growing up. I didn't really understand that people farmed for a living when I was little. I had no idea, and so I'm surprised to be married to a farmer now. And so she's going to have a better understanding. She loves the farm.
For John, agriculture was a natural choice. Both his grandfathers farmed, as did his father, until the 1980s.
Just always been around it, loved tractors, loved watching things grow, and always knew that's what I wanted to do. Even when I went to college, I knew I wanted to farm one day.
After earning a degree in poultry science, John took a job with Pilgrim's Pride in 2003 as a processing plant supervisor. In 2008, he bought a small cow herd and his first tractor, but kept working at the plant until 2011. Today, John advises young people interested in farming to go to college, save their money, and learn as much as they can from older farmers.
Probably the best thing would be to go to school and get an education, and then work a job somewhere in the ag industry or elsewhere, and get some money saved up so you're not completely relying on the farm the first few years.
The Bevels followed that formula, and it worked well. After leaving the poultry industry, John worked for a local farmer for 2 years before transitioning to full-time farming in 2014. Hannah's an account supervisor with a local school system, but she also keeps the farm's books and helps out with the beef cattle herd.
I help move equipment. We've got a few cows at our house. I check them when he's working late or going in early. I rake hay for him anytime he needs that.
This year, drought has taken a toll on the Bevels' crops, but John says they've faced challenges before, and he's confident in the future. Among the hurdles they've overcome was an EF3 tornado in 2011 that destroyed almost a mile of fence. They've also had to reclaim overgrown fields and restore soil fertility on much of the land they rent. Even with all that work, high demand for acreage forces them to commute 26 miles between farms. To help with expenses, John does custom harvesting work and barters planting services for poultry litter he uses as fertilizer. John's chairman of the County Young Farmers Committee, serves on the County Board of Directors, and was a member of the State Wheat and Feed Grains Committee. The Bevels are active in their church as well as the Cattlemen's Association. As for the future, John hopes to have 1,000 acres of crops by 2020.
I want to keep gaining a few acres every year, and I think I'm getting close to what I can do by myself without getting some bigger equipment or getting a full-time helper.
From Marshall County, outstanding young farm family finalists John and Hannah Bevel and their daughter, Maddie. Lance and Stephanie Miller of Blount County may not have grown up on farms, but they've become among the most active ambassadors for agriculture.
I keep a Facebook page for Miller Farms where I post, everything we do. I stalk Lance like a paparazzi around the fields, document everything, and then I also have a blog called The Life of a Farmer's Wife.
In addition to their social media presence, the Millers host farm days, tours, and other activities for Farm City and even complete strangers. As chairman of the Alabama Farmers Federation Young Farmers Division, Lance says he feels a responsibility to tell his story.
As a farmer, you're a science and mathematician and mechanic and politician, and just every day might be a different hat, but doing one job, farming.
The Millers farm 1,100 acres with Lance's Uncle Jimmy and operate 4 poultry houses.
We've got 760 acres of cotton and 220 acres of peanuts and about 60 acres of soybeans this year. And I like growing the cotton and I like growing the peanuts because they'll withstand the drought temperatures that we have here and dry weather. We don't have any irrigation, so we rely heavily on the rainfall to make our crop with God's help there.
Stephanie says by inviting people to the farm, they're able to build trust about America's food supply and dispel myths perpetuated by the internet.
We're not a factory farm. We're just, a family farm trying to make a living and feed people.
One of the most distinctive things about Miller Farms is peanuts. The majority of U.S. peanuts are grown within a 100-mile radius of Dothan, Alabama. But Lance says the versatile legume is perfect for their North Alabama climate.
We wasn't sure how it would be when we first started growing them, but we knew we needed to do something that was going to be as profitable and comparable to how cotton is. And cotton is can withstand the dry weather that we tend to have. And in 2014, peanuts proved their self-worth with that too. They sat through nearly 8 weeks of drought with the cotton. and we still made excellent yields.
Diversification's not the only change Lance has brought to the family farm since he and Stephanie graduated from Jacksonville State. He's also embraced precision agriculture.
When I came back to the farm after college, we were using chicken litter. And so to keep up where we were spreading the chicken litter and on the sprayer too, we just started using some GPS. That was in 05, 06, and 07. And now then we have RTK on one tractor in the process of putting it on another, the auto steer. And we use GPS on the sprayers. It's just come a long way from then as far as technology goes.
As for the future, Lance is preparing to take over the full farming operation when Jimmy retires, and he's adding more GPS equipment and considering drip tape irrigation in some of his small, heavily contoured fields. The Millers are also honing their leadership skills and plan to continue representing agriculture through the Federation and other state and national organizations. Meanwhile, they're preparing to pass along the farm, which has been in the family since 1851, to their children, Reed and Jade.
I'm glad my kids will be able to grow up on the farm, and I hope they learn to love it just like Lance did, and it gives them more opportunities to see the hard work and what goes into producing the food and the fiber that we eat.
From Blount County, outstanding young farm family finalists Lance and Stephanie Miller and their children, Reed and Jade.
At this time, we will announce our 2016 Outstanding Young Farm Family. This year's winner from Madison County is Stuart and Casey McGill.